Hello and welcome back to Cyber Circuits. Before we start, hit that red subscribe button so that you never miss out on any of our videos. Starlink has the potential of becoming a multi-trillion-dollar company. Created by Elon Musk in 2015 to serve as a funding machine for his Mars dream, Starlink is a direct offshoot of another Elon Musk company, SpaceX. Starlink uses satellites created by SpaceX to provide internet access. The main goal of Starlink is to provide internet on a global scale, so that those in rural and remote areas of the world will be able to gain access. It's also targeted to those who have slow to average internet speed and want something faster. As a result, its low-orbit satellites, which are created from premium reusable rocket technology, have greatly reduced the cost of facilitating that kind of access. This has allowed Starlink to place thousands of satellites into orbit. At the moment, the company has the authorization to place 1,740 satellites into low orbit, but its plans are even more ambitious. Elon Musk intends to add another 30,000 to the mix. One other benefit of the low-orbit satellites is the reduced latency of their services, which allows for seamless live-stream gaming and heavy data internet activities. No other company aside from Starlink uses reusable rockets to provide internet for its customers, and currently, Starlink has reported having speeds as high as 150 megabits per second. Now, we think Starlink will dominate the market and become a trillion-dollar company for a couple of reasons, some of which we'll explore in a moment. However, before we move forward, there is a question that needs answering. Can another company come along and imitate what Starlink has taken its time to build? The answer to that is a resounding no. It's extremely difficult for any broadband company to offer the services that Starlink is offering or on the scale they plan to offer. It's like we said earlier, Starlink is the only company on the face of the earth that uses reusable rockets for satellite internet services, thanks to their parent company SpaceX. So far, no other broadband company has access to that kind of tech. Starlink will lower its costs so much when it's fully operational that it would make little economic sense for customers to use the services of other Starlink competitors. For example, think of what Amazon did to monopolize the retail market. They drove down prices to such low numbers that other companies couldn't compete. The next question concerns speed. Often customers will stick to their old service providers out of loyalty and will be willing to shell out more expensive fees because of the trust they have in the brand. The next feature I'm about to highlight, I believe, gives customers a more solid reason to switch sides. Even though Starlink has not yet reached its complete plan for its satellite data services, the speed customers are already recording is phenomenal. There have been reports of download speeds as great as 150 megabits per second, upload speeds of 30 megabits per second, and a generally reduced latency across the board. This places Starlink in the same level of performance as fiber optics, which has a considerably more expensive production cost than Starlink. Elon Musk has stated that when all the satellites they intend to launch are operational and online, those speeds will be as high as 10 gigabytes per second. If that sounds insane to you, you're not alone. A figure like that will blow out the competition like a bazooka aimed at a fish in a sink. It'll be glorious, painful, and messy. The next question concerns scalability, and this is where things get very interesting. Is Starlink scalable? The obvious answer is yes. So what's the size of the market? Well, we'll let you know it's an entire population of 7.8 billion people. However, let's not get ahead of ourselves yet. While Elon Musk created Starlink, it was meant to solve a problem that goes beyond funding colonies on Mars. He wanted to bring the internet to those on Earth who don't have the internet. Out of the 7.8 billion people we mentioned earlier, 3.6 billion of them do not have access to the internet, which is almost half the world's population. Before we explore this, we'll remind you that the remaining 4.2 billion people are not necessarily using optimum data speeds. We'll be bold to say that at least half that number use bad service or very unreliable internet providers. With this, we've established a sheer scale of the market. Now Starlink provides its customers with a dish that they can get for $499. Cables, installation equipment, a manual, a small dish is provided, then there's a monthly subscription of $100, which is bound to be reduced as time passes because Starlink is still in its infancy. Let's say that number sees a decrease to $65 a month, which is very competitive when you consider the fact that there's no data cap on Starlink's internet services. Now, compared to other subscription fees, it's a steal. Now experts have estimated that there are at least 70 million households worldwide that are good candidates for satellite-based consumer broadband and can pay. By the time SpaceX is done building out its global Starlink satellite system, known as a constellation, the company would have launched 42,000 satellites. Now let's be extremely conservative and imagine that Starlink can capture just 1% of the 70 million households. That's all for today. I hope you liked the video. If you did, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so that you never miss any amazing video from us.